This video is for that one kid out there who's getting bullied so bad that you're fucking scared to be yourself. And it's told by somebody who bullied some kid so bad that he was scared to be himself. By the end of this video, you will learn why people bully you and how to deal with assholes like us. Yo, it's Damo, and my purpose is to spread these lessons to this younger version of myself, and hopefully one day, a generation of young men. So without further ado, let's talk about bullying. So the other night while we were working, me and my buddies were talking about like who got bullied the most, or how funny it is that sometimes when we're younger we get bullied and it makes us into who we are. And then it made me remember something that I wanted to forget for a long time. One of the only regrets in my life, that there was this one kid, his name was John, and I relentlessly bullied John from grade 1 to 3. Now before you think like, oh, how bad can it get when you're in grade 1 to 3? Fuck, man. I was telling the story to my friends, the story that I'm going to tell you right now, and I was getting so emotional. Like, I was about to tear up because thinking back to that version of myself and what I did to this kid, and especially thinking back to all the times that I got bullied as a kid and how bad it felt, but how much worse I was making it on this kid. Every single day that John came to school, I had these like different tiers of how bad I would bully him. We'd sit together in so many classes, that's just how the seating arrangement was. Unluckily for him. And I would always bully him like first about his bad breath. I think he just got like new braces and like he couldn't clean behind his teeth. And honestly, I probably smelled like shit too. But every single day I'd be like, John, your breath smells like shit. Like, you're disgusting. Like, how could you even present yourself at school? Like, just stay home. You smell like shit. I would say it so loud that it wasn't just him who would hear it, but it was everybody around us. Now, imagine being like 6 years old and every single day you come to school, there's this asshole who just shits on you. Every single time we had recess, lunch, after school, I would try my best to get close to this kid just so I could make fun of everything that I could think of for how big his forehead was. That's, wow, the irony. To the food that he would bring to school. I remember this one time, it got so bad that we were at recess and we were like throwing the wood chips at each other, and John was such a quiet kid. He was such a nice, humble, quiet kid. He was sitting in the corner and I ran up to him. I remember like throwing wood chips at him, and I was like, John, you're so gay. You're so gay. Fuck you, John. Oh my God, dude, just saying this is brutal. And it's brutal because he never said anything back. This kid was so kind and genuine and generous. The only time he would ever say something back was to ask me to stop. He didn't even demand, he asked me to stop. So I was calling him gay. And I remember this one teacher heard it for the first time. I was like second grade and I freaked out like, holy fuck. I'm gonna go to the principal's office. And this anxiety swelled up, and I remember John stood there and he defended me. And he's like, oh, no, ma'am. Like, oh, he was saying like gay, like funny. Or gay, like happy. And the worst part was, it didn't stop after that. The worst thing I bullied John about was his love for Star Wars. I remember, so John was a fantastic artist. Oh my God, man. I'm literally thinking about this kid right now and like, oh, fuck. Oh, my God, bro. John was a fantastic artist, and he loved Star Wars, and he would draw the Star Wars figures every single day. Like, and he would do it in art class. He would do it in regular class. He was also such a smart kid, too. And every single time he would bring his little clone troopers to school, his little Lego clone troopers, I would call him gay. I would ask him, like, what kind of grown, like, only babies play with Star Wars. That's for pussies. I would say all this shit to him. I was like 8 years old, man. Imagine what this does to a kid's development. And it got to a point where one day, I remember he brought like his favorite Lego set to school, and he was showing his friends, I think, and all I remember was like, I just kept going and berating him over and over about how stupid it was to play with these toys, and he couldn't take it. And he looked up at me, and I'll never forget the feeling. I don't remember what it exactly looked like, but I'll never forget this feeling of him dropping his toys, I think, back into his backpack, and just tears flowing down his eyes. And he just looked at me, he was like, why do you hate me? And for the first time in my life, because like during those ages, like I bullied kids all the time. For the first time, I got like a huge fucking perspective knocked into my face. And I remember trying to calm him down. Like, I'm so sorry, John. Oh my God, like what did I do? I'm so sorry. Like, it was the end of school. I had to go catch the school bus. But there John was crying, and I was like, I need to get home. I sorry, I can't help you right now, John. Like, I gotta go. But I promise, John, I'll give Star Wars a try. I'll go home and I'll give Star Wars a try. And I was like, I hope you can forgive me. And he was there, and he was like, it's okay, it's okay. And literally the next month, let me show you something. Bro, this is hype. This is so hype to me now. Oh, yo, I gotta get the video from upstairs, bro. But literally a month later, I was the biggest Star Wars fanatic in the world. Like, Star Wars became my life. Every single day. to this day, 13 years later, it is still the one and only piece of media that I've stuck to liking for all these years and I can keep coming back to. Throughout high school, it became my biggest obsession. I would learn all the lore of all the galaxies and all the characters, and I read like all the fucking behind the scenes Star Wars books, and I watched every single movie and every single animated TV show. Star Wars was my literal fucking shit, man. The Clone Wars, like, basically shaped my life. I remember when we were 18 years old, me and my best friends, we put the Clone Wars finale on the big projector screen, and this was after the show took like a 5 or 10 year hiatus, and it came back and we were all grown up and we were watching this like our childhood, and I was watching the final scene where, you know, if you're a Star Wars fan from the Clone Wars, where Captain Rex realizes that his brothers are turning evil, and I literally shed a tear. Like, this shit made me so I was fucking crying in front of my boys. It was my comfort when I was depressed. It got me through life, man. Like, the stories of becoming a better person, becoming a better man, like, stayed in my life. It was my happiness when I was down. It was to this day. I finished my deep work periods and everything at like 9:30, and I have 1 hour before I sleep, and if I have no more work tasks, I will spend 30 minutes every night watching Star Wars lore. I remember meeting Star Wars Theory, the biggest Star Wars YouTube channel's main guy at the gym one time, and it was the only YouTuber I've ever met that I was like in fucking awe. That's how much this shit shaped my life. This fantasy about space aliens literally was such a big part of the man I am today. But 13 years ago, I was ignorant and arrogant, and I judged somebody about it, and I might have ruined this kid's life. And the best part of it all is that John was my definition of the gigachad. This guy grew up to be handsome, amazing athletic build. I remember he walked into the gym one time and he was able to like bench press 100 pounds with no training. He was a naturally gifted athlete. But beyond that, he was the most kind, humble, passionate kid I met in my life. Like, this guy was blessed with all the genetics to be that douchebag jock that is like the most popular kid in high school that later like sells coke and working at McDonald's. But through everything that I put this kid through, he never once bullied me back, and he forgave me. And my biggest regret is that such a nice, humble kid, like, I never gave him a real apology. So I'm sure he might never see this video. We're only at like 4,000 subscribers. Maybe this channel will never grow, but if John, if you're watching this, if one day you see this video, I wish I was more of a man to tell you how sorry I am that I hurt you back in the day, and I wish I was strong enough to call you up right now and tell you, but I'm sorry. The reason I'm sorry, guys, is because any form of traumatic experience, bullying, having a loved one die, having a parental or guardian figure with bad mental health, this stuff at such a young age when your brain isn't formed yet shapes the kid for some of like the worst things that he has to get over in his life. This like umbrella term of like childhood trauma is literally scientifically, it is so ingrained, not only spiritually in your soul, but in your nervous system, that when I was bullying this kid over and over and over, because he was so young and he wasn't old enough to understand what was going on. Childhood trauma works like this. When something happens to you like this, especially when you're so young, your brain isn't old enough or smart enough or logical enough to determine that, oh, the bully just has something going on with him. Like, I might as well just back out from the situation. Where your brain interprets those things that happen to you as like your fault. Even though you logically know that this kid bullying you every single day is not your fault. Your subconscious brain believes that you got bullied because of who you are and it's your fault, not just because that guy just chose you as the victim. So I saw him grow up the rest of his life in school, and he was, as I said, he was like the jock kid, but he was so quiet, and I might have been the reason that his development never became that outgoing kid that he could have became. So if you're getting bullied out there and you notice that there's like a pattern in how you act toward other people, toward the world that is negatively impacting you, whether you're just a complete people pleaser, or you latch on to toxic people, or you treat others badly even though you know inside, like, why am I doing this? Think back to like when you were a kid, like some of the shit that happened to you, and like you can draw so many parallels to that. But I will let you know that if this is happening to you, the reason that people bully each other, the reason that I bullied John, is because I fucking hated myself. I was going through some terrible family stuff, and this is not an excuse at all. I was obese, I had such a low amount of self-esteem, terrible mental health, a lack of love in my life. There's a term that you've heard, hurt people hurt people. Very true term. The reason that hurt people is a lack of discipline. It's a lack of that masculine stoicism and that willpower to resist Because when you get hurt, your nervous system, your ego takes a big hit. And that pain, it is way harder to just let that pain go and let that trauma go and be one with it and be okay with it than to force it back out. Because, for example, every single time that I get into a fight with a loved one, with a friend, with a girlfriend, and these people that are the closest to me, the ones that can poke my heart the most, whenever they say something or do something that even though it was not their fault, it hurts bad, my first instinct is to say something or do something that makes them feel equally, if not worse, than I feel. And that's just the natural brain's defense mechanism to getting your feelings hurt. So a lot of young men have this problem because we weren't taught how to fight against the emotional roller coasters that the modern world teaches us to default to. We see on media that it's okay to scream and kick and get angry instead of being able to restrain ourselves and practice that discipline. If you notice this in yourself, if what I'm saying is resonating with you, you're like, every single time I feel pain, I do kind of want to hurt somebody. Maybe it's not physically, but I want to say something to attack them. The best thing you can do is just be aware of it and know that the best step you can take, like literally this is the highest ROI step to getting better, is to take a pause. Even if somebody's like berating you, attacking you, take a big pause, take a deep breath, and say something back that's extremely loving. You can be critical, depends on what the situation is. You can be real, you can be authentic, but say something back with appreciation, with love. And when you say something back with love, it does something to a person that it makes them, one, feel guilty. And guilt is a very strong emotion. When someone's attacking you, trying to hurt your ego and your feelings, and you say something loving and present back to them, I know it's very hard to do, but trust me, it's possible. I'll give you an example later. What that does is it makes them question what they're even doing. Like, imagine if right now, like, a guy's shitting on you, he's attacking you, he's saying your love for Star Wars is gay, and you just look at him in the eye and you go, you know, like, I appreciate that you're able to say these things to me. I appreciate that you're able to express your hatred toward me. Thank you. I hope you can get it out. That'd blow my fucking mind, man. I think I'd be stunned there, and maybe I say a couple more things, but if he kept coming with the love, kept coming with the kind things, like literally this is the gigachad way to approach it, you know? There's nothing I can do. The next level up to that of how to deal with bullies is to stand the fuck up for yourself. I got bullied throughout my entire life too, and for so long I couldn't stand up for myself. I was too scared, I was too weak, physically, mentally, and a lot of people say don't do that, just walk away from the situation and talk to a trusted adult and sure, whatever the fuck. But let's be honest here. If you've already tried being loving and present and appreciative toward this person and they just keep coming back attacking you, you have every fucking right to leave that shit behind and just stand up for yourself and show that you're a strong, capable person. I recently picked up fighting, not because I'm getting any sort of physical violence done on me in my life, but I'd love to know that one day I can defend myself if some shit happens, right? So if you're getting physically beat, I hate to say it, but I think it's time to go learn how to fight. The best tip for this is to do this in public. I remember one time I was getting bullied by this fat ass on the school bus. This kid was Jesus Christ, man. Can I dox him? Can I say his nation? What a bitch. But I got bullied by this kid for 6 years on the school bus. And I remember just one day I couldn't take this shit anymore. And I wish I did this earlier, and this is what I'm telling you to do right now. But I stood up on that bus and I was I said his name and I was why are you such a dick, bro? I was you know everybody on this bus is too scared to talk back to you, but it's not because we're scared of you, so we think you're a loser. I'm not saying be that much of a dick, but it worked, man. He felt a sense of embarrassment toward it. And I would recommend not going the route that I did so aggressively, but if you can blend the first step on the ladder with doing it in public and calling him back out, you can be very loving and still call the person out, but do it in public. There's gonna be a level of embarrassment toward them. So now they're gonna feel guilty and they're gonna feel embarrassed. Now what's the third hierarchy about this? Is become fucking undeniable. Think back to all the times that you've been hurt in your life, bullied by a friend, classmate, maybe even an adult. And sure, you can feel the pain, or if you're going through it right now, it hurts, but you know in your hearts of hearts that this shit is making you stronger. Some kids, man, and these are actually the kids that I pity. There's some kids that's going through life right now that they've never had to face hardship. They've never had to face an ounce of getting their soul attacked, their ego attacked, being told that they don't deserve love. They've never had this, but you do. So you should be proud that there's people hating on you, that this part of your narrative, this part of your life story is dark. Because from a guy who has been through the bullying years and years and who has done the bullying, not only does it get better, But this shit becomes fuel. And people don't want to tell you this, like, save your ego, like, don't hold grudges. But I'll talk about this in another video. This is a really good example. But my biggest bully was actually one of my teachers. For years, this guy ripped me apart. And he was like the father figure I never had. But he was like the father figure that just like thought his son was an absolute pussy his whole life. And it caused me so much pain through my life. And I was scared to go to school. And I told nobody. But at the same time, it led me to learn so much about growing up and how to become a man. And that I don't want to become a man like that guy. I don't want to act like I'm tough like that and like bully a fucking kid when I'm like 50. And I used that and I channeled that pain into becoming a better man. And yes, it hurt. And yes, there's deep insecurities and there's pain in there, but it's created stuff like this. And you might look at this channel like we don't get many comments. We don't get many likes or many views, but fuck it. There's 4,000 people subscribed to this channel. That's at least like one life through all the hours I've put into this. Who else has a fucking self-improvement channel where I'm putting fucking hours and money and I'm getting nothing back from this except just helping people? Because it hurt me so bad, I don't want this shit to hurt you. Good things come out of pain. Use that pain as your motivation, but stay being that fucking gigachad version of yourself that's able to move forward through the pain, but is so disciplined that he doesn't let himself succumb to that hatred and hate back on other people. Become the gigachad version of yourself. If you want to see more videos about how to become that disciplined gigachad version of yourself, I'm gonna put one up here. I don't know what the fuck is gonna be, but I heard this gets me more YouTube attention rate. I love you guys. Be the gigachad. Be John. Peace.